Minister is going to come to the stage once they have had the opportunity to speak. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as indicated, there is a lot of young people who are with us virtually. A lot of you who are present here have indicated that how you got to fit the criteria of being present with us is because you are running an initiative. You have demonstrated resilience. You are all leaders seated amongst us here. But we do not want to forget young people that are not with us, that are still looking for that resilience, that are still looking for how do I do it? How do others do it? Where do I go? And that is why we decided to invite our respondents to come and spend some time with you this afternoon, where I will request them in the interest of time just to not condense as such, but just give a comprehensive presentation instead of us cutting it into different sections. So if we can have a message of support from each of our respondents, and they will also give us feedback in terms of opportunities that are available to young people who are still searching for the resilience that we are talking about, who are still searching for opportunities, to whom even the language that we are speaking is foreign, to say, but I can't. From where I stand, I can't. Where do I go? So we do have in our respondents, a panelist, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the Chief Financial Officer, the CFO of the National Youth Development Agency. Madam Kutadzo Manana, thank you very much for joining us from the National Youth Development Agency. We also have our Executive Chairman from SAYEC, South African Youth Economic Council, with us today to provide us with inspiration. If you can just wave, did you wave? Yes, that's... I hope you are encouraged by seeing that it's young people doing it for themselves, grabbing opportunities, because it is high time, ladies and gentlemen, that young people occupy leadership roles so that we can be able to see the difference that we want in the future. Lastly, we've got a representative from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, Mr. O.J. Fourie, present with us. Very inspiring to have the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities with us again this afternoon, because they drive us in terms of policy that governs the sector. So we are really, really, really inspired. So how we have planned this between ourselves so that it does not take a lot of time is that each of the respondents are going to come to the podium and provide with a message of support, inspire us, and also provide us with opportunities. Do something, go grab opportunities. Resilience is by when you arrive, you step out of feeling sorry for yourself and seeing yourself as a victim. You need to grab opportunities. That is what we get, or rather what we want to get from this panelists and respondents. May I, ladies first? Yeah? Ladies first, may I start with you, Kutadzo? The CFO of the National Youth Development Agency, taking the floor to respond and also just provide us with the message of support and opportunities for young people. A round of applause for our youngest CFO. Thank you very much.
It's not. It's not. Halala, abacha, halala. Thank you. Mike is very tall and I'm
There you go. You can use mine.
Thank you, Dr. Pearl. I think I will stand here. Oh, I have to stand here. Okay. I would like to thank Honorable Minister and all due protocol that is in the house. Because I have short time, I just want to step into what we are here for. First of all, now that I have honored our seniors and those who lead us, I just want, we are with young people, yeah, ne? Sanbonan. Hello, 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 hello. Sanbonan. So, as I stand my name is Kutazombe Zimanana. I stand as a representative of the National Youth Development Agency. I want to see by the show of hands, do you guys know what NYDA is? What do we do? One hand, the guy with the yellow hat. Please stand up and speak out loud.
National Youth. All right. Thank you very much. My name is Mojale Fahopan. National Youth Development Agency is an agency whereby it funds young entrepreneurs to start or to affiliate under different stakeholders. And they do assist with funds between 0 to 10,000, 10,000 to 500. I mean 50. Yes. 50 to, so I'm one of those who managed to get 48,322 from NYDA. And the other thing about NYDA is that they can train you to obtain different skills, business management. And again, I'm one of those who managed to get that certificate. NYDA is doing good for our communities. I would love to say this thing to our minister. To the minister, can you please form alliances with different stakeholders? You cannot do this by your own, Mama. I see you have NYDA here, but we are missing to have lottery because we are here by a non-profit organization. Please next year call lottery to come here and assist us. It is proven that at Northwest we have 867 non-profit organizations which are registered. And out of that 3,256, which is 48.2%, they are sports, athletics, and sports relations arts. So please, call the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Arts, Recreation and so to form an alliances with you so that we rekatswelela more. Thank you very much.
Danko. It seems like the gentleman knows what NYDA is, and it seems like most people in the room know what NYDA is. NYDA is an agency that works under the Department of Women, Youth, and People with Disabilities. And the agency itself is aimed at eradicating a lot of things that are linked to the youth. One that most of you know about is unemployment. But as the young people, myself being a young person, I'm only 30 years of age and I'm a chief financial accountant because I did and studied chartered accountancy because young people came to Limpopo in the high school that I went to and spoke about such a thing as chartered accountancy. I didn't even know such a thing existed. But it was a young person who came and spoke to another young person, and that made me enlightened and enabled me to choose the career path that I've now chosen, and which will enable me to serve the country and serve young people. So yes, National Youth Development Agency is there, and we have many issues as young people. I stand this past week and this week we have been grieving a lot of things that are happening around the youth. I stand, and as an agency we sympathize with the families that lost 22 young people this past weekend. But there are many other things. There's mental well-being, there's things around teenage pregnancy, there's things around young people who are actually parenting their parents because they have addictions. There are many situations and scenarios that we can speak about that affects young people. And I think the panelists also showed and indicated majority or some of the things that one of you or people watching and any young person can relate to. As a young people, obviously, we can see and we can sit and talk about all the problems. But why is there a thing called Youth Day? Why is there a thing called Youth Month? And the answer is because there were young people in 1976 who fought. Does it mean now that the fight has been done that we no longer need to fight? And the answer is no. For me to stand here, I had to fight. I had to fight through high school to study. I had to fight in varsity. And for every yes, remember, someone got a no. Someone mentioned that they were not meant to be here. That means other people couldn't be here. So you sitting here or you watching this already means you are chosen to do something. If young people, and are the reasons why we are commemorating now, then it is up to us again. Then what will be said about young people of 2022? Until we sat and we cried about what we don't have and how things are so depressing and how many people are becoming suicidal, and we left it there. And the answer should be no. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? You are understanding me, ne? We are together, ne? So yes, then you ask yourself, okay, I get encouraged and I'm hopeful and I want to continue and I want to stand and I want to be that young person who is called a trailblazer, who is able to stand and say, it's going to start with me. If it didn't happen in my family, if no one went to that, no one got that degree, if no one was able to build a home for my parents, if I have to be the one who feeds my parents, then if it is me, I am taking that on and I will do it. Right? And then you ask the question, but how? The how is where NYDA and many other organizations come in. But another thing about us young people is we are not informed. The reason I asked, do you know what NYDA is? I'm happy that majority of you know what it is, but most people don't know. But what is NYDA? We stand and we offer several things. The gentleman already spoke about funding, and we have a range of fundings that we offer. We offer grants, we offer vouchers, we offer training. So it's not just about you went to school, because some people, yes, scholarship. It's not for them, and it's okay, because some people are good with their hands. Do you not know of legendary Babas? Yeah. He cuts hair, guys, and he's making it from cutting hair. Do you want to tell me that you don't know something to do? You aren't able to use your hands. You aren't able to be creative. These days, you can even make money just by creating content. And being a young person who comes and speaks about your journey because there is relevance, because someone, another youth, 10,000, a million can relate with you. So, we offer all these things, but it will only be grabbed by those who say, guys. I'm not longer standing by the corners. I'm standing in the forefront. And I'm saying it's my time. And I'm saying it's the time for my family. It's time for my community. It's time for youth to rise. Do I still have time? Because I can go. So we offer different types of fundings to different businesses. Most people, young people, ask me questions, can I be employed and get funding for a business? The answer is no, guys. You need to have a business plan which you are actively involved in, which we will run. Because again, remember, if you're getting funding, someone is not getting funding. So we need to be sure that you will run that business and execute it and hire other people. Because it must be, okay, I started off with myself alone as an employee, but now I've hired 5, but now I've hired 10, which is the stories that we had here. That is what we offer. Over and above that, the different businesses, someone mentioned, or you mentioned lottery. Do we sponsor gambling? No. Can you come and say, I want to open a tavern and we sponsor? that is also not part of the businesses that we cater for. Because again, if we do that, we'll be adding more to other youth issues that we already have, right? So in our mandate of the businesses, several, you can be a startup, you can be already have an existing business, and obviously the thresholds of the funding that you get is dependent on those criterions. Then we also do training. I spoke about skills training. And again, this is available to young people. What is the age range of young people? 18 to 35. But in the next 5 years, I'm no longer young. So I always say, I'm ready to work now. Now. I don't need 5 years. In 5 years' time, I will be happy to not be young anymore. So you need to have those things in place where you are able to meet the requirements. With the grants, if you come as a business, we identify through training that your business needs X for you to move to the next stage. We take you through that journey. Anyone who's an NYDA beneficiary or benefiter will tell you, we don't just leave you there. We go with you in that journey. You are trained, you are equipped. We even do training where you can get a business certificate. And for that, you don't even need to have grade 12. But young people are sitting, not saying, I don't have a grade 12. Your life doesn't end because you don't have grade 12. Even those who have grade 12, their journey doesn't end there. They still need to fight to continue to get to those positions of leadership that have been mentioned that we need to take up. So those are the different things that the NYDA offers. And for more information, please go to our website, www.nyda.gov.za. Or you can email, oh, she's already standing out, doctor. Or you can email info@nyda.gov.za. But can young people stand up? Now I'm young, guys. Yes, I'm the CF of NYDA because we are for young people. And we need to bring this youngness into the room. So people normally say, "Nizoyithola kanjani mayime khoneni, ne?" We are reversing to say, "Izotholwa ngami, because angimi khoneni." Uzothola kanjani mayime khoneni? Let's say this was an audition. No one won. Like if this was an interview to say who wants it the most, I didn't see. Guys, nizoyithola kanjani nime khoneni? Amandla, young people, amandla!
Viva, Bantabasha, viva! Mandla, Bantabasha, mandla! Thank you very much, CFO. We really appreciate. You know what CFO stands for? Chief Financial Officer. So she's got the money. If she says, "Zoitola kanjani khoneni," she says, "Come and flood my offices." So we go to NYDA and grab the opportunities because opportunities are there, but they will not find us if we do not go out and grab them. I would like to now give an opportunity to, okay, it's okay, Mr. Fourie, in no particular priority, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Fourie, he is from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, based in the Youth Development Directorate. Over to you, sir.
Halala, social development, halala. Long live the spirit of the youth of 76, long live. Long live. Long live the spirit of Utata Madiba, long live. Long live. Forward with the youth of 22, forward. Forward. Minister Zulu, Doctor, Program Director, Public Servants, and the youth of 22. I bring you greetings from the capital city, Tshwane, where I'm based, within the Department of Women, Youth, Persons with Disabilities. It's a very small department. We only have more than 100 officials working within the department. It's also a department that's based within the presidency. There's two departments based in the presidency. It's the Department of Women, Youth, Persons with Disabilities, and then also the Department of Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation. And I've also worked for the DPME. So I can say I've worked for both departments that are based within the presidency. Now, the main mandate of the department where I'm from is to advocate for the rights of women, youth, and persons with disabilities. And what we use, as was earlier alluded to by the program director, the key instrument that we use in the advocacy work that we do as a department is creating an enabling policy environment. By creating the legislation, policy, the frameworks, we can utilize that as our instrument to advocate and advance youth development within the country. One of the key legislations that we are busy with at this point in time, I also think will be a definite watershed moment to advance youth development, is the South African Youth Development Act. That is a legislation that we've been busy with for a couple of years. There has been extensive consultations that have already been taken place with young people across the country. It's still an ongoing consultation process. It's also been to some of the clusters within government, like the social, governments, and economic cluster, but we are definitely continuing in consulting with that piece of legislation, the South African Youth Development Act. And we will definitely also notify the Department of Social Development when the future consultations will be taking place on that legislation, so that we can make sure that we maximize this legislation to really advance youth development in the country. It's an agenda that is of utmost importance. We know what Oliver Tambo has said, that a country that doesn't look after its young people deserves no future. Just another policy, it will be short, Program Director, another policy that we launched in March, it was launched by our Minister Maheti Nkoani Mashabane, is the National Youth Policy 2030. It was launched in March, and I personally refer to that policy as the Bible for youth development. So it's the National Youth Policy 2030. It's based on 5 pillars: the economic participation of young people, health, education, nation-building, social cohesion, and then lastly on youth machinery. Youth machinery would refer to all the various forums and forums that there are at the national, provincial, and local government level that drives youth development. So whether it's municipalities, government departments, I know that social development also has the NYDF, National Youth Development Forum. That's an example of youth machineries that are there in place that can drive the agenda of youth development. That policy, it is on the NYDA's websites available as well. It's also on our website as a department. I must say it is available in all 11 official languages. It's even available in Braille, but you need to get a hard copy from the office, unfortunately. So that is basically some of the key instruments that the department does in our advocacy role to advance youth development. And I want you therefore to ask with you to please be on the lookout when we are consulting on the South African Youth Development Act, so that we really utilize this to the best of our ability and maximize what this piece of legislation can bring to young people. Just in short, one aspect of the legislation is going to be looking at the professionalization of youth workers. I myself am a youth practitioner. I work in the youth development space. You get youth workers that work in civil society. You get youth workers that work in the private sector. But one must see how one can professionalize youth work in the country so that there are norms and standards. Just like social workers is a profession, youth development workers should also be a proper profession with norms and standards, only to benefit young people, so that we ensure that quality services are being rendered to young people. In closing, we know that this venue is where Nelson Mandela was incarcerated. And he faced many challenges, but he had a vision. He had a vision to see a united, democratic, non-sexist, non-racist, free and prosperous South Africa. And I always ask myself, noting many challenges that Madiba faced. Probably having received a life sentence, for me personally, would seem to be maybe the biggest challenge that he had, or that he had to face. Because how will you achieve your vision if you have a life sentence, if you sit behind bars? But still, I think that he continuously, on a daily basis, reminded himself of the vision that he had for his country. So I also want to leave that question with you today, is what is your vision? What is the vision that you have for yourself? South Africa has a vision for the country, the NDP, National Development Plan, also better known as Vision 2030. But what is your vision that you have for your life? And despite the challenges that you are facing, don't let that challenges be a life sentence to you. Whether, as we've heard from the Western Cape panelists earlier, whether it's to be pregnant, whether it's poverty, whether it's to be unemployed, don't let the challenges that you face today give you a life sentence. Keep focused, keep persevering, keep pushing forward so that you can make sure that you obtain the vision that you have for your life. Nothing is impossible. It's only when you say it's impossible that it becomes impossible. And that's also the big difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people. It's the little extra that you do. If you are not prepared to do a little bit extra, you will remain ordinary. But become extraordinary by just being prepared to do the little bit extra. Like what was also said, help people. Very simple, something extra. What can you do to help others? So with that, I just want to encourage you and just say, yeah, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful youth month. And also remember that youth work don't end, it's only start now. We just remind ourselves of all what was done in the past. One day in the future, people must also look back and say the youth of 2022 made a difference. Like we can today stand here and say the youth of 76 indeed made a difference. Halala, youth development, halala. Halala. Long live the spirit of Nelson Mandela, long live. Long live. Siyabonga.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Fourie from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Let me help. I think maybe there's one or two persons that might need help. Standing here, they're expecting, I'm going to give you a grant, I'm going to give you a grant, and when you like Oprah. I'm just making the connection as to why it is important, and it was important for the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities to come and speak today. You need to know your rights. You need to know your rights in as far as these opportunities that we're talking about are concerned. The very same legislation and framework that he's talking about advocates for each and every one of you when you're knocking at the doors of government or private sector or civil society. You're knocking on the basis of the policy. I do see a time in the future, very near future, where we actively get young people involved in issues of development, or rather of policy development, because the policy that exists determine whether we are able or we are disabled as young people. So thank you very much, Mr. Fourie, for that. NYDA was straightforward because they speak money, but I need to also make that connection so you understand that Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities deals with policies. They drive the sector and ensure that your rights are adhered to, and as far as you being a young person is concerned. And then NYDA is the agency that works closely. In fact, it's a hand and a glove if you're thinking of Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities and the work that is done by the National Youth Development Agency. Am I making sense? Okay. Without wasting time, I do want to call our executive chairman from SAYEC, South African Youth Economic Council, to come and address us. Thank you very much.
Mandla, Mandla, kancane sekusele kancane, kancane sizophumelela, hayi sikusele kancane sekusele kancane, kancane sizophumelela, sikusele wena mfundi sekusele kancane, kancane sizophumelela, hayi sikusele kancane. Elimpopo sekusele kancane, kancane sizophumelela, hayi sikusele kancane. Who left? Who right? Host Yamasan. Who left? Killer man. When Yamasan, Hiole, Sale. When Yamasan, Hiole. When Yamasan, Hiole. When Yamasan, Hiole. Hatsi, Sale, Sate. Sale, Sale, Sate, Hiole. Hatsi, Sale, Sate. Sale, Sale, Sate, Hiole. Welele, Wenyamasa, Hiole. Welele, Wenyamasa, Hiole. Welele, Wenyamasa, Hiole. Welele, Wenyamasa, Hiole. Hatsi, Sale, Sate. Hatsi, Sale, Sate, Hiole. Hatsi, Sale, Sate. Halle Sate, Welele, Wenyamasa, Hiole, Welele, Wenyamasa, Hiole, Welele, Wenyamasa, Welele, Wenyamasa. Mandla, Mandla, Mandla. Long live the spirits of Nelson Mandela, long live. Long live the spirits of Nelson Mandela, long live. Comrades and colleagues, Sanbonani, greetings. Honorable Minister, all protocol observed, officials of the DSD, NYDA, Dr. Pearl, our MC, sithanda ukunibingelela. Igama ubonga kaMakhanya, sike ngiyahefuzela nje. I'm from an organization called the South African Youth Economic Council. Umkhandlu omela abantu abasha kwezomnotho eNingizimu Afrika. So umkhandlu sicela nje ithuba lokuqala sibonge uMinister usihlanganisile department yakhe brought us together on such a historic day for everyone, which is the ukuphela kwe Youth Month. Beyond that, uMinister is someone who's very intentful on assisting young people. Sake sabamba umhlangano 2 weeks back eGoli. Sihlanganisa abantu abasha osomabhizinisi kanye nabanye oMinister ekhona naye. Bawuqale ngo4 wazophela very late. Kubo bonke oMEC. Kubo bonke oMEC no Minister bafika. Uyena kuphela wahlala kwaze kwaphela. OMEC banokuthi mebefika beattend iprogram yakho. Sozukhulwa ngo5. Afike ngo5. Mase kushaya u6 Minister has another appointment or another. So she doesn't do that. We are engaged nabantu abasha khona EFF, we debate in the EFF, engaging with our people and being intentful of understanding their issues. Dr. Pearl, team at DSD, we want to thank you for being able to see talent in young people, we know DDG la ukuthi some of these success stories, they identified young people who are doing great work and said we want to assist them. So nathi la asizelanga. Nathi si identify wazo nabo abantu abasha singathi khona banga contribute. So siyakubonga lokho. Ngizothi phambuka kancane phatsohlelo. I was asked to come and motivate young people. So I'm not going to do that because one, I'm not a Vusi Tembekwayo of some sort. I'm not a motivational speaker. What I can do is to share what we are, what we're about, our ideas. If you are inspired by that, then great. But because one day, some young people we're engaging with, but we don't need motivation, we just need business. We just need jobs. We're tired of listening to you tell us we can do it, whatever. So I've adopted that attitude. But I appreciate abantu who come and motivate and leave our people feeling inspired. South African Youth Economic Council firmly believes in the integration and participation of young people in the mainstream economy. What does that mean? Umnotho South Africa njengamanje ulele ezandleni zabelungu kanye ezandleni zamadoda abelungu. So sumkhandlu siyakholela kakhulu ukuthi umnotho awubuyele ezandleni zabantu abamnyama futhi awubuyele ezandleni zabantu abasha. Sumkhandlu sikhathele ukuthi abantu the Department of Youth, premiers, only whenever they speak about young people, they want to tell us about skills training, EPWP, all sorts of these. Now we are saying as a council, we don't want to sell our services of labor. We don't want to be workers. We want to create jobs. We want to own the mines. We want to own the banks. And we want to own the strategic means of production. So when we say we want to own the banks, they think we are playing. As a council, we've identified strategic sectors of the economy, including mining, ICT, construction. Yesterday, I was in the city of Johannesburg addressing with the mayor and the MMC. They did the same thing, skills training. And we said, MMC, you have a budget of 500 million in the city. We want to build the schools, we want to build the roads, we want to build the reses that you guys have on offer. That 500 million, we want 200 million to go to youth-owned businesses that are in construction and not just come and give us certificates. Yeah, well. Now, kuhulumeni nokwamabhizinisi, our leaders must trust young people with positions of strategic positions of power. Minister, challenge manje to do an audit in your own department. Kono audit kola ma position ekuthiwa ODDG, ama HOD, or deputy director. Ubuko DDG bakuthi how many of these DDGs are young people? If isibalo sakho usibonza simile kahle, because we are going to every department, not just you, Minister. We want young people to be DDGs, we want them to be HODs, we want them to be CEOs of entities, and we are very clear on that. So entrust young people with strategic positions of leadership so that we can begin to change our relationship to the means of production. We were driving from Johannesburg, mesifika la eMaritzburg, kunama factory la. Our akusekho as a textile industry yase South Africa imsebenzi sihambile siye phesheya kwezilwandle. There's this thing they call Asian tigers, China, Singapore, imsebenzi sishonele le ama textile. Minister na abantu abasha bakhona la, they are willing. As umkhandlu, we are going to hold their hand. They must go and revive those factories, they must own them, they must employ other young people, and we must rebuild these industries. Now, practically, how do we translate these ideas? Because we want to own the means of production. into Interreal, or how does it tie into the opportunities that you want us to come and discuss as a South African Youth Economic Council? We've established an SMME desk led by our Vice President and Head of Business. Let desk inxusa bonke abantu abasha abanamabhizinisi to come to us with your business plan, industry. We have a strong relationship, a formal relationship with financing institutions known as IDC, even the NYDA, sisebenzisana kahle nayo no CEO, CFAs, CDAs. Kunama institutions in South Africa umsebenzi wawo nje ukufanda. Akukho kunye abakwenza ukuba nemali wahamba uyofanda abantu abasha. But kuthina, we had IDC this event, but we don't know these young people. They are not coming to us. Where are they? We are saying it's fine. We will bring young people to you, and then you must go and you must fund them. So this desk that we've established, it's not an information desk. So you're not coming here. We won't come and tell you, go to, hey, there's a bank there. You come, you tell us you have a business, you are in this industry, we take you and your business, we go to ITC, here is a young person, they're in construction, and they want 10 million, and this is why we believe that this person must get this money. If we get rejected, we'll get rejected together. But as a council, we are saying we are willing to help you prepare all the compliance documents, everything you need. We go to ITC together, we apply for funding, and hopefully these people will listen to us. Because if we go in silos as a Kwanele in construction alone, the prospects of success are low. But if we go as 20 companies of young people under the banner of SAIC saying, yeah, our company is ready for funding, and we want them to invest. So that is our SMME desk. That we are and we encourage all these young people that are here to come and sign up to that desk, and we approach these DFIs because their job is one, it's to fund young people. Above and beyond that, in South Africa, sisebenzisana kakhulu and kahle ne department ekuthiwa i-Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. Abantu besifazane kune banokugqoka ama-ring namacici and all these jewelry. Minerals ukwenza leyo jewelry iqhamuka la South Africa in diamonds, all sorts of things. Bayimina befaka itimeleni besiya phesheya bibuyisa izedayiswa sinoyithenga American Swiss and all these boutiques. So there's something called beneficiation. Beneficiation is the process of taking a mineral uyishintshe ibe product. So lama ring enwagqokayo. Minister, we want to revive the beneficiation strategy in South Africa where we beneficiate our minerals. Those rings and high-end value products that are being used by a company, we want them to be done here and manufactured here. So we've just signed, there's an entity called Mintech. Mintech kumsebenzi is a research arm of the DMRE, and it's an implementing agency of the DMRE. Their role is to beneficiate our minerals. They don't belong to Gwete Mantashe or President Cyril Ramaphosa. Those minerals belong to you and I. They were the custodians of the minerals in South Africa, and we must be the ones also who are going to beneficiate them and create employment for our people. So that entity, we're going to develop a beneficiation hub in the Northwest, because there's a lot of platinum and diamonds. Above and beyond that, we are launching a tech hub. We're talking about youth center. We're inspired by those youth centers because as Umkhandlu, we are in conversation with the Huawei, MTN, to launch a tech hub in schools across South Africa where we take young children in high school, how to code, and they come out with their certificates, and they are able to find employment as a result of this tech hub. So that is a project that is underway that we want to champion as the South African Youth Economic Council. But before I wrap up, colleagues, these opportunities must find us ready. We must make sure that above and beyond everything that we do, compliance, they must not be able to fight us on that. Ideation, our ideas must be coherent. We must make sure everything that we do, it checks out and it's up to standard. And in fact, it outcompetes those existing companies. And you are not going to like me for this, but it's fine. As a leader, Vela must be unfavorable. Comrades, alcohol is a cancer to young people. As the South African Youth Economic Council, we've taken a position that we need to build an alcohol-free society for our people to develop and for us to be in a position where we can be able to take strategic parts of the economy. So I can't hire you whilst you are drunk. Make sure that, comrades, we deal with the substance abuse crisis that finds itself in young people. So even though it might be unfavorable, but this is a radical shift, we don't agree. Alcohol remains a cancer and a hindrance to growth in our society, comrades. And I will encourage all young people of South Africa to stop drinking alcohol. Mandla, Minister, we will support you. We will support the department in all your projects. Let us change the ownership structure of the economy together. As a parting shot to the Department of Social Development, there's 17 million South Africans abaphila ngegrant in South Africa. Every month, about 17 million receive money from the states. Where do those people buy? They buy from big, white-owned established companies. The state, through the minister, through the president, must force grant recipients to channel this money into black entrepreneurs, into black industries. That is how we're going to build our industries. That the money that we give to our grant recipients must go and buy from local traders. They must go and buy from local vendors in a way that is systematic and in a way that protects the end user as well as our grant recipients, in ensuring that there's a consistent supply of goods on their end, but also they are supporting local economies. So, on that note, comrades and colleagues, I would like to say thank you to the department, thank you to every single young person who came out and had a listen to us, and we must be deliberate and intentful on creating and making sure that young people own the means of production, that we make sure that young people are deployed into strategic positions of power, and that we make sure that we take this economy, whether they like it or they don't. Amandla! Mandla! Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makanya. We really appreciate activism in practical terms towards changing the status quo and changing the narrative where young people are concerned. Thank you very much for that. I think what I identified from what you're saying is that let's go at this together, because it will not be possible if you're going to go at it alone. Ladies and gentlemen, I am alerted that a minister is staying on, so I'm not going to cut off. I just wanted to open the floor for questions. Okay, all right. No, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to our panelists, our respondents for that, as we call upon our own vibrant CEO. Can you give them a round of applause? Thank you very much. Yes, can we call upon our very own vibrant CEO of UIB to come and introduce? She does not necessarily need introduction, but it is the protocol to introduce the minister. Minister, you can occupy the seat. Mr. Mbongeni will be to the point, and so that we allow you to give us an address before you depart. Thank you very much.
Uma ngithi kimoja uzothi I'm fine without drugs. Kimoja. I'm fine without drugs. Kimoja. Okay. Ngizothula uminister wethu. Kodwa ngaphambi ngimthule, ngicela sisukume. Ngicela sihlale phansi. Ngicela sisukume. Okay. Into esizoyenza manje. Uma ngithi sukuma uzohlala phansi. Mengithi hlala phansi uzosukuma. Okay? Sukuma. Hlala phansi. Hlala phansi. Sukuma. Umakhwasa uyangiroba. Sukuma. Hlala phansi. Okay. Mhlambe ngenxa ukuthi uminister lo oyi-revolutionarist ayesiqale sithi nje zizojika izinto thula wena ukhalelane thula mntana wena ukhale besilala singadlile hlale emgaqweni
Lamdana.
wena ukhalelane
Lamdana.
wena ukhalelane thula mntana wena
Wenukhalela.
bathi Dio konakele Dio basintile hayi asibamba Thandu Xolo ngizocela nje ukuthi ubucupha lo ngizom-introducer in fact akayidingi introduction kuthina ngizozama yonke indlela program direct ukuthi ngingafundi obituary because manje sekuvele kube nenkinga kuba ngathi useshonile umuntu uqala uthi wazalwa ubani kuze kufike phi kodwa lo engizom-introduce ayidingi introduction kuthina uma wethu all of us is one person that I know if she commits she will do it and she will say to you hey you know Mbongeni angikuzwa go and refine this thing of yours then come back. But it's one person that you'll hear when she speak. She always speak her mind. At some point in time, I always ask myself, is she not contradicting the organization that is coming from? Or the government that she's leading? I can say that is one person who always say what she means. She's a mother to us as young people. I can safely say that after she left this department, as youth organization, we'll surely miss her. Especially Kutina, who were introduced into this department by her. Tando, I don't want to say much, but ngiyafisa nje ukuthi simlalele kahle. Ungamlalela uphuthuma, ungamlalela uzela. Ngifuna ukuthi atheza ngiyamazi uma is one of those emotional people. Kuzangakhuluma isikhathi eside. Ngivele ngizama ukuthi ngithola indlela ukuthi nje ngimkhumbuze kancane levela khona bese uyabe sengavese akhulume okusenhlizweni yakhe iphepha uyavela libe eceleni uma seseyimkhumbuzela awungiphe nje Thando kancane somlekelela uThando Ingoma esiyaziyo sonke khulekayo.
Sabashiya bazale kaya sangena kwamanye amazwe lapho kungazi khona umama nomama
Zande. Hayi mesikwazi uyicula sikayicula nje sonke.
Sabashiya bazale kaya
Sangena kwamanye amazwe
lapho kungazi khona ubaba nomama
Zande.
limpululeko dithi sala lwe mama
Sesingena kwamanye
amanye amazwe
lapho kungazi khona baba nomama Zande.
linkululeko dithi salan basali
Sesingena kwamanye amazwe
lapho kungazi khona ubaba nomama sangela inkululeko.
Bengisacela kwamageba asondele.
May we remain standing in honor of our minister.
Thank you very much. Ay, kusazofuna ke thi sesithi kuyichaza le. Ngoba ngizwa ngathi thi ship out. No, thank you very much. Ngibonge kakhulu ngibonge nje leyo ngoma first and foremost because as young people you still have to go dig that history because that is a history and the song brings me to the times when we used to do that march. Where's the young man who is now a traffic officer? Sekaphumile ne? Oh, now sekhona, yeah. You see, in our time when we were doing what you were explaining here, in the march, this is the song that we used to sing. But of course, we didn't sing it with the guitar. Manje, it is your time where you can now sing this song with a guitar. It's important for you to learn that song because South Africa speaks through the song, if we were to be honest. From our own history of liberation, when things were tough, it was always the song that made us forget about the pain. But if you look at also when pre-1994, when we were preparing for the elections and preparing for the before elections, preparing for negotiations and all, it was song that used to keep a lot of people motivated. Okay, ngathi le gama le motivation asilithandi ne. Yeah. It was the song that reminded people of the history where we come from. There is a movie that was done by a young American who came here in the 90s. It's called Amandla. If you watch it, he traces the song and how the song used to keep the spirits of our people high. In fact, he was shocked arriving in South Africa at the time when there were funerals almost every day or every week because somebody had been killed somewhere by Amabunu. And so every time he went to the funerals, he never used to understand why are these South Africans not mourning, not crying, but singing and dancing as they carry the coffin towards the graveyard. And he understood that it is the song that kept the liberation struggle going. Thank you so much for being given this opportunity today. I had a whole speech that was properly prepared and properly written. I wish to thank those who wrote the speech, because the speech always has to be written so that one does not lose sight of what one is presenting. We must never discourage or take for granted the speeches that people write. To those leaders who are here, you must always appreciate and understand that they go into the archives, they go into the programs, they go into the strategic plans, they go into the annual plans, they go everywhere to go and look for the speech so that the speech is relevant for the day. So my speech is very relevant for the day. However, because there's been so many people that spoke before me, and because there have been so many young people who made me feel, anyone out there who says young people are lost, that is the person himself or herself who is lost. And anyone who talks about young people being apolitical, it is that person who is apolitical. Because the young people who spoke here, from the first panel that was presented here, maybe before I even go to the first panel, to the program director herself, to everybody who put this program together. I can tell you, when the program was put together, I had a problem. And when they came to give me a briefing about the program, I said, no, guys, you cannot be taking me to KZN yet again. Because people are going to say, Nyambona ke lo Mzulu, yonke into ayenzayo uyenzela iKZN. So, at the situation room, when they explained to me the program, I just told them, you know what, guys, go and think again. Why did I say they must go and think again? It wasn't only because of the fact that they were coming to KwaZulu-Natal, but of course, the KwaZulu-Natal was an issue for me because KwaZulu-Natal, as you are all aware, has been going through too many difficulties. And those difficulties are the programs and projects that determined our coming to KwaZulu-Natal too often. Not that we want to undermine or ignore other provinces, because as a national government, we cannot afford to do that. And so when they then came back, where Pietermaritzburg, Dr. Pell, because Mina had already said, no. But when the chief of staff came back and said, please, you have to listen, I listened, and they told me about this program that we have today, and the content, and the manner in which they had planned it. I thought to myself, I'm not heartless. I cannot do this to them. They've done a lot of work, but also there is a content and there's a thinking behind, which is also based on the different themes that they had. So ultimately, I had to relent and say, it is okay, I'm going to come to this program, and I don't regret coming here. I don't regret, first and foremost, because I knew about this center, but I've never been here. So it also gave me an opportunity to understand and appreciate this center to a point that I said when we were outside. I have to speak to Minister Sisulu, speak to Minister of Education, speak to Minister of Tourism, and say to them, how about ensuring that there are special school tours that are arranged and organized to come here? And then I also thought to myself, if we organize the students' tours or the students' tours, what about businesses around that? I then asked if they were to come here, is there anywhere that they can have the coffee, they can have a lunch, and who owns that? So I was told, yes, there is a coffee shop, yes, there is this and that, but I think we can do much more than what is there. And of course, I do appreciate the fact that this place has to be kept properly and maintained. And so when you also flood people into it, you must make sure that you have enough financial muscle for infrastructure improvement, because otherwise it will be run over and then it will not be what it is. But NYDA, the young people here must tell you what's the plan, because I just came back from Berlin, and I also passed through Zurich, and I saw a few museums which are more than 500 years old. So what will stop you from ensuring that you do the same, but they do it as a business, those who are smart enough to do it as a business and maintain it? How do you do that? I think what is very important here is the site and the purpose of the site. And I think enough has been said about the site. But I think what is more important is, what lessons are we learning from this site? What message are we taking from the person who was arrested here, who was incarcerated for 27 years, who came out after 27 years and didn't say, "Hayi mina ngikhathele bengisejele for too long, ngicela ningiyeke." He said, "Yes, I have spent that 27 years, and may I remind you guys that yes, it is true. We speak of Comrade Nelson Mandela as the leader. Let us not forget that there were other leaders who were with him. There are other leaders who were with him whose names we seem to be forgetting. Can we please go back and pull those names of the Mtswaledis? I'm sure many don't even know who Mtswaledi is. Can we go back and as we speak, and rightfully and respectfully, as we speak of Comrade Nelson Mandela and this place that we have here, let us also remember that there are many who were also in prison with him, who kept him alive in prison. He had somebody to share with his pain. He had somebody to share with his political vision. He had somebody to share with the future that he was thinking about, that is the future of South Africa. And by the way, they tried every trick in the book to separate him from those comrades. Let us not then be part and parcel of separating him from those comrades who were with him. And we are here also because this site is reminding us that it is important for us to focus on improving the living conditions of our people in general. And therefore, the Department of Social Development's responsibility is that of the well-being of all citizens of the country, but with a special focus on those that are vulnerable. And the panelists who were sitting here could have chosen to live in that space of being categorized as the vulnerable. But you know what they did? They said, yes, our background, our this and that comes from vulnerable, but we want to come out of that vulnerability. So, while as a department, we are promoting sustainable livelihoods and resilience of young people for a better tomorrow, which is commemorated throughout the month of June, it is so because we are remembering also those people who sacrificed for it. And as I speak of Comrade Nelson Mandela, the first president of a democratic South Africa, I also want to say to you, those that sacrificed, many of them were never able to see this freedom that some of us are enjoying. Me, as an individual, I can tell you, we left graves in Tanzania, in Angola, in Mozambique, in Uganda, in many, many places, in England, in the United States of America, and in many other places, even Russia. Those are comrades who never had the chance to see you doing beautifully. At least me, I can say I'm privileged because I can still do with you. They never did. And again, I want to say to the Department of Social Development, one of the things that you will have to do, working together with the Department of Education, the Department of Arts and Culture, the journey that those comrades traveled, the Department of Agriculture is working on a program of ensuring that we know that journey, just like we are talking about the journey where Comrade Nelson Mandela ended up being arrested. Let us go back to the journey of those who journeyed through Eswatini, journeyed through Botswana, Lesotho, and other places, right up to Angola, many of whom, I must tell you, perished in Angola because there was an organization that was called UNITA. Many of you might not know. That was the organization that was led by Jonas Savimbi, the one who was supported by the Americans and others, when he became not what they wanted him to be, how did he die? That was the man that used to direct his own people to ambush us between Luanda and our camps. Many of our own died on those roads. And today, as we celebrate June 16, I'm saying to the Department of Social Development and the Department of Arts and Culture and the Department of Education, let those lives not go in vain. Their parents wish they could see their children like my own mother can still see me today, like my own family can still see me today. And therefore, the dialogues that we are having here, while there are dialogues specifically looking at how young people can find themselves, find the space, let them always remember that somebody else did something in order for them to be able to be here today and do what they are doing here today. So in our self-expression, we need to go a long way to inspire, restore, and plant a seed of hope. We all need as South Africa. We all need it as South Africa. And the responses and participation cannot be taken lightly, as they also inspire other young people to never give up in life, but rather be resilient. And again, the young people who were here, to me, Peter, some of them were talking like you, exactly like you. But maybe sometimes they don't realize that that's how you talk. Some of them, they were talking exactly like you, Dr. Pell. Maybe they don't realize that they talk like you. Some of them will talk about the leadership of the province, of the local structures, but maybe sometimes they don't realize that. Don't blame them. Don't blame them, because their situation, their conditions, and the conditions under which they live makes it difficult for them, and therefore it is our responsibility to make sure that we change them and make them hear us, so that what we say, they pick that is relevant and they run with it. And if we so say something that is not very relevant, youth in business. They gave me a run on that day. Ngahlala kwaShayi 1:30. They gave me a run. Cabanga nje kunana EFF khona lapho nabo bonke. They gave me a run, but you know what? I was prepared to sit there and listen, because I personally believe that this country needs us all to listen to each other. It's not a one-way street. It's not a one-way street, because young people have got a lot of beautiful ideas. They have hope. And those who keep telling you that nothing is happening, we wouldn't be having these who are speaking here if nothing was happening. Those who are speaking here, they found something that is happening, and they told themselves they're gonna make it happen. And I would like to also thank actually the exhibitors who were out there. It's a pity, bathenga kufuneka ucash kuphela. Manje thina sesihamba siphethe amakhadi ngoba siyasaba ukuhamba no cash. So again, kufuneka nibancede lapha ngaphandle, ngoba they are supposed to have that thing yokuswiper. But I understand, I'm from small business development. Kuyakhosta kona lokho ukuthi ube naleyo gadget. So we've got to be able to help them. And the reason why I'm picking up on them is because the last time we had a conference at the convention center in Durban, Peter, note this. The people who had come there to sell as an exhibition were hidden. Maupuma from the center, you'd never see them unless you were going to the parking lot. Now you have to fight that. Because you cannot call small and medium enterprises, abo sisi, nabo mama, nabo baba, abenza, all those beautiful things. Mauso figile, in the place where they are supposed to exhibit, you put them at the back where nobody can see them. Nami, I happened to see them because the car was parked that side. It's only when I was running to the parking that I saw them. So I'm saying to you, while you were talking about all the other things that we are wanting to do, may I also advise you, it's important to keep a strong bond with the Department of Small Business Development. And if banikeza trouble wozani kimi. Yes, wozani kimi. Wozani kimi because I'm from there and I know what needs to be done. I don't want to occupy their space. I just want to say to them, let's share the experience, let's share the burden, let's share the ideas, let us work with each other. Now, Youth Day, angifuna ukubuyela emuva ngidescribe ukuthi iyini nako konke. I think the people who were here described it adequately. What I think is important for me, Peter, the department at national level, the department at provincial level, and also your local economic development. Can we make a pact, namhlanje, that all the people who are sitting here, they still have a long journey to go? Can we make sure that in 6 months' time, can you guys come back and tell me where they are? 6 months. Just come back and say, Kwa was here, this is where they are. Northwest was here with the car wash, yes. Come back and say, Ugai. KZN itself, the ones who were here, Gauteng, all of them who were here. Guys, in 6 months, can I please know where they are? Because if we know where they are, next year, God willing, when we are doing this, we are going to be inviting them to come and showcase. Not to come and be telling us, oh, I started, they'll be coming to showcase. But see, last year, we were here. This year, it doesn't matter where we're going to be. We won't be here. We'll be in another place, God willing. When I say God willing, if I'm still alive, we are going to go somewhere else. I would like all the ones who were here to be there because they'll be showcasing. They will not be complaining about anything, which therefore means your task, again, and the task of those other organizations that are supported by government, the NPOs, because Peter will tell you, I'm always fighting, Peter, why do we spend 8.2 billion rands per year on NPOs, and yet when I look at the communities, they are complaining? Where is this money going? 8.2 billion per year, I'm not saying it's 8.2 billion that is given to NPOs to empower these NPOs. Is a lot of money, but of course I'm appreciative of the fact that inflation and other things are going up, so we have to take that into consideration. So let us make sure that when they come back, the one, Gauteng, yeah. I don't want, when we go next year, he comes and tell us those people were retrenched. I'd like him to come back and say, I've got more that have been hired. But beyond being hired, because he's not only just talking about hiring, he's talking about empowerment. It would be good for each one of you who are here to come back next year and say, I was supported and here are the others that I supported. That would be very, very helpful. Yes, that's how it has to happen. And I want to go back, Peter, and ask you, please, the program of youth camps is very important. Very, very important. All the people who testified here, they are not for show. They are for real. And I'm telling you why they are for real, because the one that Peter spoke about, Talifani, he is with Go Green Foundation. That young man, I was invited by Minister Batabile Dlamini to the camp that you all talk about in the Northern Cape. I went there to speak as a Minister of Small Business Development to motivate young people. That young man held on to my belt like this, and he has held on to my belt since then to today. Talifani is a living testimony and a living example of somebody who went there, saw opportunities there, and told himself exactly like the young man who was explaining himself here. The two of them, they speak the same language. And all others who went to that camp, they speak the same language. However, Peter, many are lost in the process. So I like it when NYDA, for instance, speaks about focusing on those that have a capacity, but also empowering those who cannot, because it's our job to do so. Which therefore bring me to the issue of collaboration. Our government has got one challenge of everyone working in their little corner, everyone fighting the other, everyone competing with each other. Guys, it's not about us. It is about the people that we need to serve. And it shouldn't be us who keep talking and patting our backs. Look at what we're doing for you. Let the young people be the one who stand up and do what we saw today and say, this is what has happened. And therefore, when from the Department of Youth, Women and People with Disabilities spoke about extraordinary, I think everyone who is in this room is extraordinary. You are extraordinary because you were not just picked up from the street to come and fill this hall. If you were, please go back to those people who picked you from the street and tell them, next time it ain't gonna happen like that. You are going to bring me here on the basis of my capacity, my capability, my plans and everything. If anyone brought you here having picked you from the street, they were wrong. You are here because you are extraordinary, because you yourselves realized that you've got to be the agents of change, as Dr. Pearl says. And therefore, all of you who are here, you are supposed to lead. I don't want next year to be told, it's difficult. Yo, ditaba. It's difficult because to get water to the mountains, to get electricity to the mountains is very difficult. But listen here, he's still here. He's still standing. Imagine somebody also who volunteers. Half it's our volunteer, there's no food in the house, but still is volunteering. Where is he? Because we need to thank him. You know, one time we had a serious problem it was said, some councillors were taking the food that they were supposed to take to people they were taking to their own homes. He didn't do that. So he is a living example of when you have to be honest to your people, be trusted by your people, be loved by your people. He says, sitting here, life was very difficult for him as a person with disability because everybody looked at him and thought, what? But on his own, obviously with the support of his parents and the support around him, he realized that his challenge, and Dr. Pearl says we are all challenged in any case. We are all challenged. It's just that we develop these things in our minds and we forget that God loves us all, irrespective of how we look, irrespective of even whether we are in the LGBTQI or whatever it is, God loves us all. And therefore, my view is we need to live and let live. Stop being judgmental. If you like sleeping with men, sleep with men. If you like sleeping with women, sleep with women. Nobody has got the right to judge you. I can't say because I have a husband, I've got children, I've got grandchildren, then I must walk around and start pointing fingers at other people. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. If when you like what you like what you like, and leave others to like what they like. That's just the bottom line. That's just the bottom line. And I know that is very difficult, but I want to thank the South African community. Because if you look at what used to happen 15, 20, 30 years ago, and what is happening now, there's a big difference. But we have not reached where we are supposed to reach. So as young people, it is your task, it is your responsibility, it is yourself to discover who you are. Marcia is the one that decided. It said, I am now I was asked to be part of the She Decides movement. And everywhere I go, I find the women who decided. And once they decided, they made a difference for themselves, they made a difference for their family, they made a difference for the people around them. Lastly, Peter, the people who were speaking here are all talking about social development department having been a stepping stone. Can we please make sure we don't lose sight of that? Can we also make sure that the youth ambassadors, we had one here who said he used to be a youth ambassador, and now they went around profiling households, and it was there that he was realizing going on, hey man, abantu bayahlupheka. And what did he do? He moved beyond that. He registered his own NPO. He now has a skills development center. He now focuses on information. And I was saying as he was speaking, information is power. If you don't have the information, he talks about skills development. Can we make sure that the skills development is not about yesterday's skills, it's about tomorrow's skills? That's what is important. He also spoke about entrepreneurial business skills. May I tell you that the Department of Social Development has also looked into something called social entrepreneurship. You got to take that too. Come to us and ask us what is our thinking about social entrepreneurship. I was amazed to find that when I was Googling it, even the Chinese did it. So we can also do it. Before I leave this podium, there's something that is very disturbing. And I would like us to take a moment of silence in solidarity with the families of those who lost their children. 22 or 21. The last I heard it was 21. A moment of silence for me is not just about keeping quiet and talking to somebody. A moment of silence is always about asking yourself certain questions and asking for certain things. And I think as we take the moment of silence, we should ask ourselves, why did it happen? How could we let it happen? Where were we before it happened? Where were the neighbors before it happened? Where were the parents before it happened? How did it happen that a 13-year-old was not at home at 8, at 10, at 11, at 12, at 1, at 2? 13 years old. I don't want to be judgmental or be seen to be judgmental, but I want to say, lo tshwala bokhuluma ngabo. Lo tshwala, the drinking is beyond what it should be. The drinking must stop. The drinking must stop because many of those who drink, when they do things, they come back the following day and say, I don't remember. But when they say they don't remember, there's a dead body somewhere. When they say they don't remember, a rape has been done. When they say they don't remember, a child has been abused. When they say they don't remember, they didn't know where their child was yesterday. So the drinking must stop. And the drinking goes with drug abuse. The drinking goes with zonke idakamizwa ezikhona. Some years back when we were in exile, President Kenneth Kaunda cried on TV. Niyazi wayekhalelani? Wayekhaliswa yindlela abantu bakhe babephuza ngakhona. He came to a point of realizing, it looks like I'm leading a nation of people who just drink. Now, I don't think we need our president to have a white dookie and sit in front of TV and cry and be begging South Africans and young people in particular to stop drinking. Even if you drink, guys, let's say, okay, you drink. But can there be a limit to where you know where you are, you know where you are supposed to go to, you know where you are supposed to wake up? What is this thing of waking up and looking at the person who's next to you and say, how did I get here? Yini yona leyo? Eh? Uvuka ujampe, I'm sure we have vuka ujampe, uthuke ukuthi, hey, is it really me here? And by the way, I'm talking about both men and women. Don't misunderstand me. I'm addressing both men and women, girls and boys. Utshwala in South Africa is a problem for the entire society. But singakhohlwa ukuthi the taverns were meant to do that to us in the past. But the past is gone now. So we can't be having these taverns next to the school, next to the church. You know, when we had COVID-19, we thought we had caught it. Hey, what nje makususwa ama rules? Babesilwisa. Bathi sifuna kubuyelwe kuyophuzwa. Bapushwa yini? Bapushwa yilaba abantu aba-ownayo ngoba bona they are making money out of it. They don't care what happens to you once you leave the place. Look at the one manje lo kuthiwa yena lo we tavern ubesejahela ukuthi hayi imali yami angisayitholi manje seningistopela ibusiness yami. Into enjani leyo kodwa? Kakade. Into enjani leyo? That you should be worried about the fact that business yakho iten kushabalela abantu about 21 and you still don't feel that's a bad thing? No. So, next year, I would like us to start preparing for next year. Preparing for next year means we must have programs that are starting tomorrow as a build-up to next year. Next year, we will be celebrating success. And the only way we can celebrate success is to tell ourselves that tomorrow we start the work. Ngoba, for me, Youth Month or Youth Day, just like the other day we say about gender-based violence, it's 365 days a year. Ngicela ama officials angizwe kahle, ngicela everybody okhona namhlanje athi we will meet again next year, but we will be talking about success. We'll be showcasing success. And next year, again, as I say, God willing, we will have more departments in our program. We will have more, maybe in fact, asenzeni ngoba iproblem yethu ne education yale yenzo kwayo neyini akasithi nje si department of social development. We want an integrated program. Ezothi masi showcase, we will not be only listening to abantu abancedwe i-social development. We'll be listening to others who have been helped by different departments. So a year to a year next year, Dr. Pell, it will be expanded into something that doesn't happen only in one day. Because one day we are super, guys. Ngoba one day bese siya rasha, siya gijima. Nina, you should have had a process of discussing, which you did have. But then today, we should have then presented the work that was done throughout, including the work that was done in provinces, present it here, and then say, in the whole month, these are the things that we did, these are the strengths, these are the weaknesses, this is what we want to showcase. Now next year, I'm only coming up for showcasing. Nyabong.
Thank you very much to our minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not speak once the minister has spoken. As we allow the minister to move to the next urgent engagement, I do want to indicate that it was an honor for me to drive this ship and be the facilitator for today. So I'll be calling on Viwe Klaketwa to provide us with the vote of thanks. And following him will be Ms. Zizile Kumalo, who's going to provide us with announcement and everything else that we need to do going forward. But the formal program ends as the minister departs. In that order, colleagues, can we have Viwe Klaketwa to come and provide us with the vote of thanks, following which it will be Ms. Zizile. You won't be seeing me. Ladies and gentlemen, it was an honor to serve you. Thank you very much.
Say halala. Say halala. Yo. Hi, can Pinter say halala? Hi betuna. Itini halala. Oh, asakwazi slay queen Nkosi. Mama, sibulela kakhulu. You know, other women are in power and positions. Xa befikile, they're just here for fame oba kuzawuthiwani, oba uthini, and then just leave. I like the point ukuthi ucollecte wonke ama points nama views nendlela esizizwa ngayo. You are an inspiration to me. Ungumzali kum. Omunye umuntu uma ngabe ngikhuluma ngendaba ye-LGBTQIA+ community ebezoyithi phekule. I heard you talking about success next year. Mina, I believe that I'm a power, that I'm a voice of the LGBTQIA+ community. Neither they accept me or not, I'm the voice. Yeah, so, Uma, we are inspiration because I used to only speak lapha emalokishini kuphela kuma rural areas. Yeah, I want to see myself out there. Ndifuna uthetha. Because there's a lot that needs to be addressed in the LGBTQIA+ community. Sisa recognize kancinci, but yo, umama seke lapha, I'm going forward. Ma, siyabulela, it was so emotional. Ngithanda ukubonga kakhulu nakuma ministers, ama ministries ahlangene, nama departments ahlukahlukene, and all protocols observed. Guys, it was a beautiful thing. Siyakuthanda mama. Andazi banibonge njani. We. Ziyakhala. Can shine Santa. And screamani. Wow! Amakwela phi. Apha amakwela. Hey guys, abafana baphi. Wow! Hi guys, siyabulela. Jonga, sisizizile ndingamoshi ixesha sekulate. Yithini halala for the last time. Is she?
Ezoyithola kanjani? Hayi kahleni mafethu.